Hey folks, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. Today we are going to be choosing our fighters, exploring some fairy tale worlds, and bringing on the pain as we explore Twisted Fables from DIEMENSION Games. Welcome back, folks. Now, for those of you who don't know me, and you should by now, my name is Matt, and as I said in the tease, we are talking all things Twisted Fables today, which is something that we recently unboxed on our channel. You can see the unboxing up over there. You'll also know that this was a Kickstarter that featured quite heavily in our Gotcha Backer series as well. At its core, this game, which we are reviewing today, is very much a 1v1 side-scrolling deck builder battle 1v1 card slinging game. Think of it as fairy tales that have been twisted on their head, hence the name Twisted Fables, and it's effectively a Street Fighter-esque Mortal Kombat 1v1 fighter. There are a few other play modes that we'll discuss as well, but at its core, this game is a punch-on between two of the fables that you see on the box here, and also some that are not featured on that particular cover. So, for example, you might have Snow White taking on Red Riding Hood, or Alice in Wonderland, Alice of Alice in Wonderland, taking on Mulan, or The Little Mermaid bringing a pain to the Little Match Girl. All those different Twisted Fables going at it head-to-head in epic battles. Each battle 40-45 minutes tops, I would say, once you understand the mechanics of the game. And I have to say, well, look, there's a lot to discuss. I don't want to reveal things too soon. Let's take a look at what this game's all about. So as I mentioned, at its core, Twisted Fables is a 1v1 battling game that can be played in a 2v2 player mode as well. Now, the 1v1 for me seems to work just fine. It's basically a deck builder where you start off with a core group of 10 cards and a couple of extra abilities, and you can then use cards to generate power, which you can use to purchase upgrades and therefore build your deck, and etc, 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 as a standard deck builder goes. The beauty of this thing is there's three specific cards that you'll find as basics in your deck, and they are attack, defense, and movement. And you'll use those cards in various combinations to not only do those three things, but also trigger your skills and power cards as well to bring the pain to your opponent. Objective of the game is to whittle their health bar down to 0 and give them a KO. That's it. That's pretty much all there is to it in terms of overview. But the game employs some other mechanics. Now, it's not just about the deck building. The deck building is a very important part of it, because as you obviously acquire more cards and more powerful cards into your deck, you can use those to smack on with your opponents, unleash more devastating abilities, activate extra abilities that are specific just to the fable you're playing. And also, you know, that's the deck building mechanic that we know and love. But I think the defense mechanic is something that's interesting as well, because if you play a defensive character, you can actually beef up your defense, which expires at the start of your next turn, but it can absorb some of that damage, and it's vital in terms of trying to find success. In addition, there is the epic cards. Now, epic cards are a series of 3 cards you start with at the beginning of the game. They are not included in your deck. They're laid out effectively above your individual draw stacks that you can purchase cards from. But at a certain point, when your fable is whittled down to a certain point of health, usually about 50%, you activate your epic ability, and you take the epic peg out of the slot to indicate you've done so, and you place one of the 3 epic cards directly into your hand, which means you're going to be able to unleash that epic power on your next turn, and that is awesome. This is a really interesting mechanic, because the card you choose needs to be the right card at the right time, and depending on how your deck build has gone, it might have a bit of a say on which way you lean, or how well the battle is going in your favor or not, as the case may be. Likes for this game. Look, I guess before we get into likes, I guess I should talk about the different components. The quality of this game and this production as a whole has been pretty fantastic. We went all in for the deluxe edition because why not? We want it all. And it all came in one unique, lovely box, which was a brilliant. It is 2 or 3 storage trays deep. There is an art book in there. There is a playmat in there as well that you can use to track where you are on the board in relation to where your fables are, rather than dealing out relic cards. I think the quality of the mini sculpt, as you'll see if you watch the unboxing, as you know if you watch the unboxing, is fantastic. The minis are just awesome. They've really taken the idea of the fables and given them that nice sort of, in some cases, gothic twist, cyberpunk twist. Really, really lovely cyber steampunk in some respects as well. And Sleeping Beauty is just terrifying to behold, which I kind of dig. The deluxe token set in this particular set, rather than just having the punch board, is really nice. They're like an acrylic token, which is really lovely. They make a great noise when you use them on the table. And if you get a stack of them, particularly a Sleeping Beauty or Dorothy, you get a stack of those combo tokens, boom, they make a great noise on the table, and it just sort of, you know, lets the other player know that they're in for some hurt down the track, which is fantastic. The trays themselves, did you need to have a giant, you know, 3D printed, molded, sculpted player tray? No, probably not. But by gosh, it looks fantastic. And you've got a little insert that you can put your Fables card in, keep track of all your power, health, everything else as well. And it's a nice little touch. It's a nice little touch. It just gives the table a bit more presence rather than just moving the minis around, which they didn't need to do. You didn't have to have the miniatures in there. They've got standees, cardboard standees you can use as per the base game. But having the minis on the table actually facing off against each other down this single track looks the business. It's fantastic. So I think the components, the overall production, is really well done. It looks unique. The art on the cards is fine. It's fantastic. The quality of the card stock is great. The epic cards, having those foil epic cards and those foil, I guess, player specific or fable specific cards looks really, really nice. And you've got those as an option as well. For those of you who didn't get the deluxe edition, you are missing out. The quality of components in the deluxe box are pretty fantastic. Probably one of my biggest, well, one of my biggest gripes with this game, biggest negative I should say, is actually not that big of a negative. It's only a subtle thing. And it's just that the learning curve for each fable is can be quite difficult, quite confusing. Only because, yes, there's explanations in the rule book, but some certain game situations aren't explained, and you have to go online and have a look and see how to resolve them and see who's in the right and who's in the wrong. Which is, you know, a small little gripe. Once you get a couple of plays through for each fable under your belt, you'll be running through matches in 30 minutes, no problems at all. One of the biggest things that I love about this game, one of the biggest things I love about it more than anything else, is the accessibility. This game is pretty much able to be picked up and played. The cards, there's a little bit of word text on some of the skills and abilities depending on the fable you choose, as well as the epic cards, which comes back to that gripe I mentioned just before. But otherwise, it's all symbology. I mean, the attack card has a clear attack symbol on it, the defense cards have a shield, and the movement cards have a chevron that shows you can move. It's really, really simple, and playing groups of those cards obviously multiplies abilities and things if you're playing them with a skill, and it's really easy to pick up and play. And for someone who's fresh, who's never even heard of Twisted Fables before, I know I can sit them down at the table with Snow White or Red Riding Hood, one of probably the easiest ones to learn, give them a starting hand of cards, play a couple of turns, and then watch them be able to kick my ass. It's really that easy. And one of the best things about this is a game that my wife, who is nowhere near as much of a gaming hound as I am, sits down and plays on a regular. There are nights where we've had 2 or 3 or 4 rounds on the trot back to back, and we've let the kids just do their own thing, send them to bed or whatever, so we could stay up late and play this game. So Dimension, thank you very much for creating a game that speaks to my wife on such a level. She's a massive Wizard of Oz fan, so she's played Dorothy a lot. Those combo tokens. But the fact that she's able to, you know, not just pick up and play, but obviously, you know, she get a real kick out of it and get a real buzz out of making those combinations and things. We had a match where I was playing as Alice, she was playing as Dorothy, and she managed to combo through 20 cards in a turn Just luck of the draw and luck of the way the deck was built. But wow, it was pretty much all over Red Rover. And I think this is one of the only games where one of us hasn't dominated the other. She plays Splendor and just dominates. I think I've beaten her once in my entire history of Splendor games against my wife, whereas other games I'll mop the floor with her. But this one is one where we're pretty much evenly matched no matter who we play as, and that makes it a game that's going to hit the table again and again and again. Accessibility I've talked about, but replayability is another thing I like about this game. If you were lucky enough to get the deluxe edition, or even get the basic pack with the other add-ons, there are Fire and Flame packs, things like that, or Flood and Flame, maybe it was. The replayability that this game has in spades is predominantly derived from the fact that there are so many Fables to choose from. The core game, I think, had 6 in it, correct me if I'm wrong. And then obviously the add-on packs had 2 or 3 more. So I think all up there's 10 different Fables that you can choose from. Which, okay, it doesn't admittedly sound like a lot, like some of the MK Mortal Kombat rosters are now 30 characters deep or whatever. But with this specific game, playing those characters requires 1 or 2 or even 3 playthroughs before you can really sort of understand the mechanics of each Fable. So being able to have those characters all throughout the box and being able to pick up and play pretty much any time, have them all interchangeable, means that you're going to keep coming back to the box to play off Red Riding Hood against Sleeping Beauty, or Sleeping Beauty against Little Match Girl against Little Mermaid, Mulan throws it in the mix, Kaguya. It's just, it doesn't matter how many times you play it, it's always going to be a different experience depending on who you pair up. Even if you pair up the same characters, the outcome could potentially be different because someone might understand the strategy better, they might get better draws. Like, that's still a little bit element of luck, but there's also the skill of building that deck and crafting it so you can bring the hurt to your opponent. So I do love the accessibility, I do love the replayability, the production's fantastic. In terms of negatives, there ain't a whole lot that's not really great in this box. The Relic mode is great. The Relic mode is an additional module that allows you to lay out cards in a row, and you can spend power to look at the cards and then activate those cards to give you special bonuses, healing, damage, etc. The Relic mode is okay, it's good. It adds an extra bit of chaos, a bit of luck and a bit of wild magic, I guess, for lack of a better term. But does it take away from the core experience? I think it does. It adds a bit more chaos, which is fun, but it also takes away from the strategy and actual deck construction element as well, which is really important in a game like this. Okay, so the 2v2 mode I think is interesting because obviously it's a team game. It's sort of like, I guess for lack of a better explanation, imagine that you've got 2 1v1 battles on a side-scrolling Street Fighter Mortal Kombat platform happening, but they're happening parallel to each other. So you've got one combatant from each team here, one combatant from each team here, and they're going at it crazy, crazy, crazy. You can spend movement to swap over. And by swap over, I mean you can't jump over so it's 2-on-1, you have to trade places with your teammate. So you have to make sure you've got space available, etc. in order for you to do that. But it means that if you're playing against a certain Fable and your strategy just isn't working because the matchup's just not going in your way, you can swap over to see if your tactics work better against the other opponent on the team. So I do like that mechanic when you're going to be chopping and changing and everything else as well, which is brilliant. But I think the 2v2 mode, while it's something that I'm yet to experience, I will admit that I haven't actually been able to play 2v2 mode yet. Charlotte is still a little bit on the younger side, although she would love to play. She likes the idea of all the miniatures and stuff. But I think the 2v2 mode, it sounds great, but I think it might just be too busy. I would love to try it as a 4-player battle royale. I know that goes against the core mechanics of the game, and that could potentially just be chaos. You can only attack a person who's on your battle track, etc. But the idea that you can just jump around and have 3 people on one track, yes, it might become congested, but I think the idea of being able to, you know, have last person standing, last Fable standing, that's kind of cool. If anyone out there has done that, I would love to hear how that's gone. I think that sounds fantastic. I think it's something that's worth giving a bit of a crack at. The development for Twisted Fables continues. There is talk of something else down the track for Twisted Fables. There has been just a mini campaign on GameFound just to get rid of other bits and pieces before Christmas. I did not, I should say. When we backed this on Kickstarter, I did not get playmats for it because I figure it came with the game mat for the characters on the fighting track. It came with its own little bits and pieces, and we just use our normal playmats, which is fine, but the art on the playmats is fantastic. So when they launch the new mini campaign, hopefully if all goes well, things will arrive before Christmas as they've stated, and obviously we'll share that with you. But we've ordered playmats for a couple of the characters, along with I think it's the Mulan playmat that has a new area card, like a stadium card, I guess, which I think is a bit of a hint of what is to come in terms of the world of Twisted Fables. So that's a bit exciting as well. Overall, this is a game that I think anyone who loves deck builders will love. Anyone who loves games like Magic, where you've got a 1v1 dueling game, will love this as well. Yes, the deck building mechanic could polarize some folk, but the fact that each fable has their own core set of 3 stacks of cards that only they can purchase from, that's where the Magic players will find, do I go all in on this particular stack for attack? Do I beef up my defense or movement skills? What's the go? Those people who like Flesh and Blood, Magic, that sort of stuff will find that aspect of it really, really fantastic. And I think anyone who likes a good deck builder is going to enjoy this, but people who like those 1v1 card players or card dueling games, Keyforge, that sort of stuff, is really going to enjoy this a lot more than they give it credit for. Twisted Fables, if you haven't had the pleasure, I urge you to go out and try it. It's a fantastic game, a brilliant production by DIEMENSION GAMES, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this fantastic little box. Who knows, it might become a line and they start doing little add-on packs here and there. If they do, if there's another Kickstarter down the track, which I believe there will be, I'm going to be all in, because to be honest, it's been a fantastic game, and to be able to enjoy that with my wife after the kids go to bed, that's huge. Love your work. Thank you very much again, DIEMENSION GAMES. Folks, thank you very much for sticking around and listening to my ramblings about, about what is a fantastic little, well, not little, it's huge, it's a huge box, big box experience. Thank you very much to all our Patreon subscribers for allowing us to have all the fun that we do here on this channel and indulging my gaming addiction. Thank you very much. You guys are good to see this before everyone else. If you would like to, by all means, stick around, hit that subscribe button for us, give us a like. It's a small action for you, but it means the world to me, so thank you for staying on board and joining our HP Gaming Gamer Army. We will see you back at the table for some more crazy adventures. It is Christmas, so we are going to get into our Christmas gift-giving guide and other things that you should look at between now and the end of the year. Otherwise, folks, get back to the table, play more games, be kind to each other. Above all, have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you back here very, very soon. Till then, it is bye for now.